Standard Rugby Podcast with Lawrence Dallaglio.
Welcome to the Evening Standard Rugby Podcast. I'm Steve Cording. We've got a cracking show for you this week. Joining us will be Marlie Packer and Bath No.8 Alfie Barbeary. No Lawrence this week again. He's still on Cycle Slam, second week. I imagine he's getting very sore. But joining me is the Evening Standard Rugby correspondent, Nick Purewal. Nick, thanks for joining me again. How was your weekend?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Yeah, it was great, actually. Yeah, it was very up and down. But I was obviously at Wembley on Sunday as a supporter for Coventry City against Manchester United, being a Cov kid myself. So I was there with my dad. My brother was there as well. So, yeah, it was great. Obviously, a phenomenal game.
So you had a weekend watching the round ball, Nick. I was watching the oval ball. I went to Twickenham to watch our first guest, England captain, Marlie Packer. Marlie, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, first and foremost, for a fantastic afternoon. My daughter, her friend Grace, they thoroughly enjoyed it. I have to say, going to watch the Red Roses was such a chilled experience, and you were devastating on the pitch.
Yeah, it definitely clicked for us on the pitch. The whole day was just magical. I think it's always special playing at Twickenham, but the last couple of times has been really special. For the fact of just the amount of fans we get in. I think it was around the 48,000 on Saturday, and we heard every one of them cheering for us, including yourself, your daughter, and our friend Grace. So thank you for coming to watch. But yeah, no, it just clicked on the day. Really, really happy with the performance of the girls.
Yeah, let me read you some of these stats then. So I know we don't like to blind each other with them, but so from the top, so Ellie Kildunn touched the ball 23 times. We had 14 tries, 1,066 metres, 237 passes, 60 defenders beaten, 24 line breaks, 18 offloads, and the one thing I've starred was 22 handling errors. What would the score have been without those handling errors?
From those stats, it sounds like it was a really exciting game. To be fair, Ellie Kildunn, she's been an absolute star of this tournament for us, and she's a bit of a rock star off the pitch as well. Have you seen the after-match pictures with her shirt being signed by different fans, which she'll keep as a memory? But to get 3 out of 4 player of the matches of the tournament so far just shows what a little superstar she is, but then also the rest of the squad putting her in those gaps, giving her the ball. We've just really come alive this Six Nations, our back line. We talked about going into the Six Nations, or Mitch talked about letting the handbrake off. And I think for us, we've done that. It showed on Saturday. It's taken some time, like the first few games, a lot of people were saying England aren't finishing their passes, obviously soft errors, discipline, but actually it was just coming together. We're not going to be able to put everything we do on the training park in the first match. We need to grow as a squad, and we've definitely done that. And, Saturday is one step closer to this week out in France.
Yes, and you mentioned the crowd. I mean, Sophia, funny, when she walked into Twickenham for the first time, she looked around and went, wow, it's so big. It felt like a fortress for you. I mean, how much of an inspiration was it for you when you were walking through the gates? The crowd was packed there, and then you're walking in and there's fans in there when you're warming up. It just must make such a difference.
Yeah, it's amazing. Always catches me off guard as well when they first name you, like they're your best mate from school, and they catch your eye. But honestly, walking through the crowd, walking through the Golden Gates is really special. And yeah, just for me, I've managed to do it a couple of times now. But for the girls, for their first occasion, I know really enjoyed it, and just actually staying in the moment, being present, and enjoying those fans, because they've come there to watch you as a player. And some people only see a tiny bit of all the work you put into putting that performance on the pitch. So you've definitely got to make sure you enjoy those moments, and that's what we told the players to do.
And Marlie, I noticed on the way in, as you did walk through the gates, the Lion Gates, you were applauding the fans and really making the point of thanking them on the way in. And you talk about being present in the moment. It felt like that epitomised that completely.
Yeah, definitely. There were so many thousand fans waiting for us to get off the coach, and as you're driving in, you can see them all, and they're just taking pictures. They can't even really see us through the bus windows. And then when we're getting off, the cheers you got and the support is massive. And for me personally, I like to thank them because they're making an effort to watch us come in, to come for the day down at Twickenham. And I'm really grateful for that as a player. I can remember doing it as a young child, watching the men come in at Twickenham. So it's just a really special occasion, and yeah, it's a great occasion.
And for the game itself, I felt your midfield shape really gave you lots of opportunities to finish off your chances, didn't it? That worth a mention for the two centres who look like they're building a really strong partnership. But then obviously you've got people like Skaz to come off the bench, which isn't too shabby, is it?
No, not at all. And what a performance she put in once she got off the bench. She was phenomenal, and that's why she's been world class for so long. But the Meg Jones in Tatty partnership we've got going on in the centres really works for us. They're a really enjoyable pair. Meg is just electric. She's like a Duracell bunny, in just constantly talking to you on the pitch, feeding energy, feeding you confidence. Tatty, you just know, are going to run some hard lines, distribution. So yeah, it's really exciting, that centre partnership. But I also think the work the whole squad do, the shape we're trying to play is what, if we attack as one, then actually we'll break down any defence because all options are on. And I think at the moment that's what we're seeing, because there's so many options and we're picking the right ones. That's how we're picking off this defence that we're up against.
So Saturday, 4:45 in Bordeaux, France against England, Grand Slam decider. How much are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, can't wait. For me, playing over France is really special. I think it's come a long way since 2014 and winning that World Cup final over there. But it is a tough place to go. There's a hostile crowd, and you have to work super hard just to block them out and just put on a performance on the pitch. But the one thing I do know about playing over in France, that if you get on the wrong side of the crowd and France, if they don't perform how the crowd want them, then they don't get behind them and it goes the other way around. For us, we just need to make sure we stay in the moment, stay present, play our brand of rugby like we did on Saturday, and then hopefully the scoreline will look after itself and we can have a good night Saturday night and a long day travel home on Sunday.
So in partnership with QBE Business Insurance, we're looking at how we grow the game. Marlie, you've got some new fans in the Cording household. How do you keep that grassroots junior female support going, and how do you encourage more players at schools and at grassroots clubs level?
I think for myself and the Red Roses is to try and keep the interactions high. So when the Six Nations isn't going on, but just keep interacting with the fan base. So for us, we've got our own social media platforms now, which the new fans that we've picked up along the way, that actually they don't have to follow the men's game. They might actually just enjoy the Red Roses. So their feeds will just be filled up with us as the Red Roses, but then also go into different places, going on the road as Red Roses, going into our local grassroots clubs, taking sessions, interactive more, just being able to be visible, I think, is the big thing. Because as soon as you can see it, you then can believe it to achieve it. And I think for me growing up, that was a massive thing. The Red Roses were invisible, but now we are, and it's actually paramount that we keep growing our game. And for me as a player, it's about putting the extra work in to make sure that young girls, even young boys, can see us to then be able to pick up the ball.
It's funny because I read an interview with Ellie Kildun at the weekend in which she was talking about popular culture, fashion being important elements that the Red Roses can use in order to attract the new supporters. I mean, my daughter's not taken her Red Roses hoodie off all weekend. Do you think those are important aspects that you can tap into that maybe the men's game don't do and can't follow?
Yeah, definitely. I think the men's game is very different to our game. I think we're a bit more relatable. Ellie Kildown, she loves her photography. And I think these days everyone's got a smartphone, loves to take pictures, change effects, make it look edgy or vintage, as one would say. But then also you've got the likes of, say, Holly Aitchison. She's worked with a company called Clinique, which is about makeup and skincare. And I think girls worry about those things. There's other avenues that we can talk about that we've personally been through, not just rugby, but our own lives, whether that's how we were at school, how we are anxious about different things, the different clothes we wear to different fashions. The younger players at the Red Roses will probably say my fashion's out of date with my clothing, but I'll say theirs is a bit too much for me. So, we can touch lots of different subjects that are not just rugby based. And I feel like we're a lot more open to express ourselves and show our vulnerability, because, people are vulnerable, and the best thing sometimes is to talk about it, because if we talk about it as Red Roses, as these, what we're painted as superheroes sometimes, but actually we can be vulnerable and we can be just normal people, but we just love playing rugby, but we also like putting a dress on and wearing makeup and doing all those kind of things as well.
Marlie, well, thank you so much for joining us again. We will chat to you in a week's time when you are the Women's Six Nations champions. Where we're all going to be behind
Fingers
you
crossed.
on Saturday. Fingers crossed.
Indeed, yeah.
Best of luck,
Steve.
Yeah, well, I'm confident. Yeah. Best of luck on the weekend.
Thank you very much.
And we'll chat to you next week.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Steve.
A decisive weekend for the women in the Six Nations. Pivotal weekend maybe for Premiership, with only 3 rounds left to go. And I'm delighted to say that joining us now is Bath No.8, Alfie Barbeary. Alfie, great win on Saturday. Johan van Graan described it as the best of the season. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it was a good win. I think it's up there with the result against Racing, and a few of them. It was just good to sort of go back and be given the opportunity to put some wrongs right, as obviously they knocked us out in the European Cup, the European stages. So it was good.
And how about you, Alfie? You settled in the back row now? Obviously, you've mixed around different positions over the years, but are you happy now with where you are?
Yeah, I'd like to think I'm settled. I think maybe when I'm a bit older, I might slow down and have to slowly creep moving forward. But at the moment, I'm settled with back row, and I'm quite happy with it.
You could always put on 20 kgs at the end and play 3.
Yeah, well, we'll see how the next off-season goes.
Was that transition hard, and working out the finer points of No.8 and everything that comes with it, is that difficult, or did that come naturally to you?
I think it came quite naturally to me. I sort of always played growing up either back row or in the back, surprisingly. So I felt like that transition was easy enough. I think coming from when you're in the front row, I think there's a bit more expected that you could get away with being a front rower, and now it's a bit you're getting picked out for things. So yeah, but I like it. I definitely prefer the back row.
Looking now towards the summer, what have you spoken to Steve Borthwick about going on the summer tour?
Haven't had much communication with him, to be perfectly honest. Sort of just very happy focusing on Bath. I think we've got a goal set in our mind of what we want to do this season, and at this point in time, I'm happy. Touch wood, I'm injury free, and it's the first sort of time in my career that I'm sort of injury free, enjoying my rugby and playing in a team that's winning and doing well, and sort of have something to really play for. That's
a big key for Bath, isn't it? Because obviously you've been trying to find the kind of right blend for a while, but it certainly, from the outside looking in, it looks like you're very close to finding that now.
Yeah, I think as a team we're definitely believing that we can do something. It's just about proving it. We definitely have the squad to do it, but it's just showing up at the weekends, putting in the hard graft on game day and going from there.
Now, Alfie, tell me about your distinctive look. Can I put it that way? Is that diplomatic? I do. Nick was taking the mickey out of me earlier because I do like your hair. I mean, I had a hairstyle, I think, like that when I was 18 maybe, which was still young enough to carry it off. Now, your mum's a hairdresser, isn't she?
Yeah.
But you don't let her anywhere near your hair?
It's the one time we fall out when I let her near my hair. But for our relationship's sake, we decided to sell off and just keep it mother and son relationship rather than a hairdresser.
Is there a reasoning behind it, or do you just, because you did have short hair when you joined Bath, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Well, when I was younger, I used to grow it out like this, but it's probably a little less. Had all the sides and back shaven, and I don't know. I just sort of said my mum's always wanted me to grow it out one time in my life, so I sort of said I'll do it. And she also said I never got injured when I was younger with all my long hair, so there's a theory to that.
Samson.
Yeah.
So if you get to Prem final, you will not be cutting your hair.
No, maybe put a bit of dye in there or peroxide, but definitely won't be cut.
So anyway, back to rugby. Friday night, Saracens, big game.
Yeah, I think every time you play Saracens, you know what they're going to bring. You've always got to respect them with everything they've done and the team they've got and the players they have. You've just got to always respect them, but with a sense to not give them too much and sort of put your fire the first punch and put your first foot forward and go from there. And I think that's exactly what we've got to do. It's a hard play. We want to make the Rec a hard place to come win, and that's our plan.
Yeah, just wondered about obviously the Rec factor and how much it gives to you. Obviously, teams coming down there, it's a unique ground, isn't it? Great setup, and it feels like when you're in your flow, it's a very difficult place for teams to come.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think with sort of when I first joined, I've never played at the Rec before, so definitely a new experience, sort of playing there and getting used to it. But it's class, especially I'd hate to be on the wayside there. I love to sort of try and get the crowd involved and get them going. It's always a near enough packed house, and the fans are class, and they do really bring the energy and sort of can get you out of those hard moments in a game and push you on. So yeah, I do think they're almost like our 16th or 24th man.
And in terms of everything that Johan's been bringing to Bath, how have you found working with him and his coaching style, and how much do you think the club and team's progressed under his leadership?
I think he's been class. All I can say is that he's been great with me. He's given me some tough love at times and really been pushing me. He knows what my ambitions are and sort of where I want to be, and he's class in getting that from like myself and like boys around me in terms of where we want the team to be, and actually rather than just thinking we should be there and actually believing. Or I know there was moments towards the end of last season where we're sort of 1 point off. We were 1 point off and then like towards the end of last season we started to believe that we could be a great team in terms of the players we have and what was happening. And then we started this season well, and he's really been great in sort of being able to build that each step and keeping us on the ground and focusing on our next job.
When you talk about tough love, can you go into what he's been putting the foot down on?
Yeah, it just me. I'm a bit of a child and sort of a bit ADHD. Have to keep myself doing thing after a game. I do love a beer, so it's just all about how I can be the best professional. He wants to be on the pitch as much as possible and sort of trying to sort of do that and be everything I can be for Bath, and hopefully by improving that I'll be a better player and be better for Bath, and we'll go on to win things. So he has been good with that. He told me, we've had difficult conversations where he told me stuff I don't really want to hear, but that's sort of part and parcel of the game. I think he's very good with me, and I probably am a bit of a pain in his neck sometimes, but I think we definitely both respect each other, and I like to say we do have a good relationship.
Do you have to kind of be almost gentle with yourself in terms of that self-improvement as you go along? Maybe not to be too hard on yourself as you're moving forward with it?
No, I think for me, it's always been a part of the game. Need to improve on like being the best professional in terms of recovery. It's sort of getting to the point when I was becoming a player that was always known for injuries and couldn't really put a spell of games together. And I've been greatly supported by the S&C and the physio, that Rory Murray, he's probably one of the best I've worked with, and he's been quality with me, and sort of them working so hard with me, I've got to take a bit more accountability from my side, as they're putting all this hard graft. Might play on Saturday, but if there's no sort of longevity there, it's pretty pointless. And I'm pretty sure Rory, the physio, is getting pretty fed up of seeing my face from the season before from back-to-back injuries. So yeah, I think from that it's just taking a bit more accountability, and as much as wanting to do everything, it's about, we've got this goal set in place, and I can't be selfish and do what I want to do. It's part of a team, and we've got to go from there.
Well, Alfie, it's been an absolute pleasure. I know Lawrence is devastated to have missed this episode. He really wanted to have a chat with you. Thanks for joining us, and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Cheers. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Nick, for being with me this week. Thanks also to Marlie and to Alfie and to VoxPod Studios. Thanks for listening. We will all be back next week. Goodbye.